Okay, we are live. Let's wait till somebody tunes in. Let's see. Come on, computer. All right, switching to Coon Hunters Outdoors Ministries. There we go. It shows I'm live there. Let me click the expand button. All right, and okay. And I'm gonna copy and paste your page. That way people can go like it.
Okay.
Let's see. Created. Wait, God's Great Outdoors. Yeah, God's Great Outdoors.
Yeah, and if you can copy and paste it to my personal page, more people will see it too. So,
Okay. So what I'll do is,
I mean, it went on there earlier, but
all right, let's see. All right, so we're live. Let's see. Cut, copy. All right, and let me go here to Jared Hudson. I'm gonna click edit, and then I'm gonna tag you in this. How's everybody doing? We got one person watching. All right, so let me tag a bunch of people: John, Matt, Dean, Jason, Mitchell, Kayla, Adam, Tony, Robbie, Marcus, Josh, Jamie, and Cliff. All right, so now you're tagged in it. Great.
okay.
Uh, all right, how's everybody doing? We got 3 people in here watching. This is great. So let me click this, mute it. All right, so we got Mr. Dean Hulce. Is that right? Is that how you say your last
Hulse.
name? Hulse.
Hulse.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Dean Hulse here from God's Created Outdoors, or God's
Great
Trails
outdoors.
to Adventures.
Yep. God's Great Outdoors Trail to Adventure. Yep.
Yeah, God. Okay, yeah. So I want everybody to go like this page. I'm fixing to paste it and pin it. And let's see here. Go like. I'm going to tag it, and I'm going to post the link. That way people can click the tag and the link. There it is. Hey, JW Fox, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. I'm glad to see you tuned in. Stay tuned for this one, JW. It's going to be a great one. I'm doing dang near Skippy. Couldn't be any better. God's great. All right, let me pin this. Okay, I got it right there. Now I'm gonna copy it, and paste it to my ministry. So we're live on 3 places. We're live on Coon Hunters Outdoors Ministries, and then we're live on my personal page, and then we're also live on the Quake Radio's YouTube page. And Quake, for those that don't know, Quake stands for King Without a Crown Every Day. So we're a 24-hour nonprofit Christian radio station. If anybody wants to give us a listen, I can share the link with you to listen to great Christian music. All right, guys, Great Outdoors Trails to Adventure, and let me pin that. All right, great. So, how you doing, Mr. Dean?
I'm doing pretty well. It's been a rough year, as I was telling you earlier, but I'm doing good.
Well, God's great because He blessed us with waking up another day, and
Absolutely.
then He blessed us with being here for this live show. I'm super excited because I was live last night with David Patacone, who's a Christian rock musician. Uh, that was the second time he's been on, so it was pretty cool. I like David. And then now we got Mr. Dean on here, and I've been following your ministry for a while.
Long time.
And yes, and So I forgot what year it was I found you, but it was a long time ago.
It's probably 8 or 10 years ago. I bet. I was just looking to see how far back if we had any conversations a long time ago, but it's been a
Yeah.
long time. I bet you. I bet you started reading my devotionals 8, 10 years ago. Long
Yes.
before, long that. Then you were just a plain old coon hunter.
That's right. I was just a plain old coon. and and so now all these years later, I've got a ministry, and I like I like your post. I love reading your stuff. I love sharing it with people. And so tell everybody about your ministry and what you do.
Yeah, yeah. God's Great Outdoors. Actually, I've had men's ministries, mostly outdoor men's ministries. It's not all men anymore. When I started, it pretty much was. But I've been doing outdoor ministry for about 12 years. Started writing devotionals about 14 years ago every day. God's Great Outdoors. And when we get into worry, we'll talk about how God's done some things. But God's Great Outdoors has been around 27 years. It started on Cedarville University or Cedarville College radio program or radio station 27 years ago. A year ago, the previous host, Jerry Caluette, passed away. And the board of directors called me from basically from the funeral home after the funeral and introduced themselves and said, "We've heard about you and want to know if you'd be interested in being part of God's Great Outdoors." Gave me an interview and called me a few days later. Said, "You want to pray about this?" I said, "Well, I've been praying about it for 2 years," and I said, "This is God's answered this." So I said, "I can tell you right now, I'll take it." So we do have a radio ministry. Every once a week, we put out a radio show on Christian radio stations all over North America, up through Canada, Alaska. Actually, we cover a lot of Alaska. We cover most of the United States, spotty upper Midwest, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin are probably our biggest. It's our biggest group. But and then we do a podcast every week. Write daily devotionals. We do some stuff with disabled youth and disabled adults for hunting, some fishing, and just really spreading out wherever God has a call in the outdoors that we can serve. We're on it.
Awesome. That is cool. Um, Let me see. Let me get this shared out. Several people. Let's see. 7 days slumbers. So I got something cool for you. So since I'm the marketing director with Quake Radio, maybe we could do something. Maybe get your show on our network, on our
Would love,
station.
would love to. Do you guys download anything from Amboss now? The distributor. Um, I don't know if you do or not, but we can either send it to you or you can get it through Amboss, which would send it automatically to you every week because that's where I download it or upload it. But I'd love to get it there. Won't cost you anything. I mean, doesn't cost you anything, doesn't cost me anything, but glad to serve you that way.
Okay, cool. I'll talk with Jason.
Okay.
See if he wants to do that. That sounds cool. That's a good idea.
We've got
So
about
he
300.
lives.
We've got about 300 stations around the country now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So he lives up north, and then I, of course, live in South Alabama, and but I think it'd be excellent because um, we we play a lot of Christian rap music during the day. Then in the
Hmm.
mornings we play K-Love type music,
Yeah.
and then we play a lot of Christian rock music like Striper, 7 Day Slumber, groups like that. And and then of course we do a live show every Wednesday night called the Three Wise Men. So I think it'd be great to get your ministry out there.
Sure. Sure. I'll help you any way I can.
Okay, cool. I'll get with him, and he may be watching tonight. I don't know if Jason's watching, but
Hey,
all
where
right,
where are you
let's.
at in Southern Alabama?
I live in Clark County. I live in a little redneck town called Grove Hill.
Where's that at compared to one of the major hubs?
So let's see, Grove Hill. I'm in between Jackson and Thomasville, and I am about an hour and 20 minutes away from Mobile, the big city of
Okay.
Mobile.
Well, I'll be through there in about probably mid March. Maybe we can get together and do a podcast and radio show on my program together.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I'd love to. I've got some people in Montgomery that I'm going to spend with some great friends. Going to be over in the Panhandle doing some stuff, and then Mississippi, Louisiana, all the way to Texas, almost to the Mexico border. I'm gonna guide a turkey hunt for some friends and their little boys, and and then head back home. It's about a month and a half just recording programs. So
Wow, that's awesome. I'll have to take you on a 2 night coon hunt if you're ever interested.
I've never been on a coon hunt. I would if I'm walking okay. I'm still with a cane right now, so um, I've never killed. Believe it or not, as much hunting, and if you follow my stuff, I've gotten to guide all over North America for 35 years and hunted for 50 years now, and I've never killed a coon in my life, other than occasionally run one over on the road.
Wow. Well, it's definitely a thrilling experience because, like, I used to deer hunt all the time. I don't really deer hunt that much anymore unless I'm going with
Mm-hmm.
my best friend Josh or something.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I like about coon hunting, to me, that's better than deer hunting, is you can take several people with you, and you don't have to be quiet. Because with
Right,
deer, you got to worry about scaring them off.
right,
But with coon hunting, you're not going to scare them off.
yeah,
And then you can fellowship with several people, and then also it's another way of taking somebody that's never really heard the gospel before, take them coon hunting, and then share Jesus with them.
yeah. No, it's kind of like I've never dove hunted either because up north we don't have a dove season. We send them all down to you all down there, let you kill them. But dove hunting is it's a social sport. I love the turkey hunt one with one or two people where you can sit until the turkey's close. You can sit and talk the whole time.
Yeah,
we did duck hunting down by Corpus Christi on the Gulf, and that was a blast. We had 4 or 5 of us sitting on the edge of the ocean um, until the ducks came in. You just sat. And, actually, it was mostly just sharing what God was doing in our lives for 2 days straight.
that's awesome. I've never duck hunted, but one of my best friends, Matt, does it, and he loves it. And they say it's. I love watching the duck commander guys go duck
Yeah,
hunting. That's fun.
yeah. And I'm hoping one of the guys is going to have time for me when I go through over Mississippi and Louisiana to from that group that I think Godwin was one of friend of mine is friends with him was talking to him. So I'm hoping
Oh,
at least one
cool.
of them or maybe more of them can get on with me. And I'm talking to Bobby Cole over at Mossy Oak.
Uh,
He's on Biologic and he thought maybe Toxie and Cuz Strickland might be able to take some time and do a show with me as well.
that'd be awesome. Hey,
Yeah,
John, how you doing? So, so speaking of the duck commander guys, do you watch their podcast, The Duck Call Room?
I haven't yet. No, I know it's relatively new.
so, um, so I've been watching them. At, actually, I started late, and I had to go back all the way from episode one. Now I'm on episode 1,000, whatever,
Yeah,
however many episodes they've done. And I was watching it today because I'm a huge fan of the Duck
yeah,
Dynasty and Uncle Si and them. And so Uncle Si is telling a story today on the new one that just released. I was watching the premiere, and him and Martin were telling a new one. And Martin had a video of Phil because they're sponsored by Benelli Shotguns and they're Italian. And back in June, Martin said he sent the butler, the driver, he said he sent him to Phil's house and wanted him to record him shooting that new Benelli shotgun that just come
yeah,
out that nobody's got yet. And Phil grabs, so this guy only got one take, and Phil's such a oddity.
yeah,
Uh, he gets his shotgun. All you see is the cell phone filming the guy. I mean, filming Phil. And Phil comes up with his shotgun, and instead of going by the script or whatever the 5 bullet points that Martin
yeah.
gave the guy, Phil just said, "Well, Italians make the best meatballs." And then he said, "We know they make the best meatballs, so why would you not want the best shotgun?" And he grabs this Benelli shotgun in his hand, pow, 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 starts shooting like crazy. And then he says something about that, and you can barely hear him, and then he just walks off.
Well,
And
I'd love to. Yeah,
they said
go
that's a
ahead.
typical Phil Robertson thing to do.
Well, a friend said I think I might be able to get Phil on there, and I think it'd be awesome because I think there's nobody that I've heard that's less ashamed of the gospel than Phil Robinson.
Oh, ain't no
I,
doubt.
I think he would probably put me in a corner on the program, but we'll see. I'd love to do it. That'd be okay.
JW says Cuz Strickland will be with us in April down in Texas at the World Turkey Hunting Championship. That's
Uh,
pretty cool, JW.
Yeah, JW. I met first time I ever met Cuz. I met him at a couple shows around the country, but was in the San Antonio airport, and he was sitting at a table near me. Went over and talked to him with his wife and his daughter. They're coming from turkey hunting, and I said, I just asked him if he had one of his books because I wanted to buy it. I got a friend that just loves Cuz Strickland and thought it was a great thing that I had met him. And so I just asked him, and he said, I got one right here. I said, would you sign it to my friend? So he says who it is, signs it, and I said, what I owe you? And he said, absolutely nothing. He said, pass that along to somebody and be a special thing. We sat and talked for about 20 minutes. Great guy.
Oh, that's awesome. I love watching Mossy Oaks Gamekeepers.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite shows, and Mossy Oaks not my favorite camo, but I just love the way they actually teach you stuff. A lot of these
Yeah.
shows they don't teach you stuff,
Yeah.
and I love learning from the guys, especially seeing Cuz on there. It's just so entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah. Another guy that loves the Lord.
That's awesome. That is
Yeah.
cool. I love seeing his post on Facebook. I'd love to meet him one day. I bet he's super on fire for the Lord.
Very, very nice guy. Very good guy. And just easy to talk. They're just ordinary guys. People, I got my radio program and been on a lot of TV and different things. And people somehow think because you got that, you're different than everybody else. And I'm a northern redneck. I'm a Yankee redneck. I'm not a southern redneck. But I do love, long before sweet tea was in the north, that was my favorite drink. So
Ooh.
so
So you're
it's
the so you're
I
the
am
you're the Yankee version of me.
I don't talk like you. I need a interpreter for you. So
I have never heard somebody say that. That's funny.
I I love the South. We got tons of friends in Alabama, over in Texas. We're going to go to Jacksonville, Florida, and interview a couple of people on the way down there, and then go to Jacksonville, and then all the way across Highway 10, all the way through all the southern states, all the way down to between Corpus Christi and Brownsville, and then turn around and go all the way back home. So we'll probably put on 4,000 or 5,000 miles at least. So
Wow, that's awesome. That's
lots of
cool.
barbecue. You can't buy barbecue very many places in the north either.
Oh man, that's a bummer. Like I just recently discovered barbecued pulled chicken. Ooh,
Oh,
it's smoked chicken on the grill. So my buddy Cam, Willie Campbell, he has a business in Century, Florida called Cam's Barbecue. And my buddy Levon Merrill, shout out to Levon. Levon works there, helps him cook. And so I went there one night before a race, or one day before a race over at
yeah.
Tri County Speedway. And he's like, "Yeah, this is." I've been telling him for a long time. He's a coon hunter like me. I've been telling Willie. I said, "Man, I'm gonna come see you and Levon up there." He said, "Okay." I told him. I said, "I'm finally gonna get to come up there." And then he had on his menu, pulled smoked chicken. I said, "You know what? I want to try that." And it was just basically like smoked chicken breast or smoked
Yeah.
chicken wings or whatever. And he pulls the chicken and has a special barbecue sauce that he makes, and it tasted so good it made me want to slap my whole family and my cousins.
Nobody says that up north. Slap my mama. Nobody says that. I would fit in before. I won't be down there a week, and I'll be saying y'all and fixing and all those southern things. So I'm a southerner at heart. As a matter of fact, I'm getting to learn to hate the snow. I love snow,
Yeah.
but Thanksgiving for deer hunting, it's great to hunt in the snow. And then I don't know if you know Bo Blackwell out of Alabama. You've probably seen it. He comments on my stuff fairly often, but
Hmm.
he was here and hunted in the snow. It was the greatest thing we got to do together. And then it could all disappear on January 2nd, have it through Christmas, and it could all disappear and I'd be fine. So instead, I'm going to travel my winters down south and talk to people down there.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, cause I love snow. I love
Yeah.
snow, but I don't want it like y'all get it where it's like 5 foot every hour.
We literally have about an inch on. We live in the UP of Michigan, which is known for its snow. We have about an inch of snow on the ground right now. We had a brown Christmas. We have had about a week and a half, 2 weeks of snow, and that's it. It's been a
Wow,
very mild winter.
wow. Cause usually y'all get blizzards and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, you go north of us along Lake Superior. They call us the banana belt of the Upper Peninsula. You go north of us around Lake Superior, and they'll have 400 inches in a winter. We
Wow,
we get we get on a bad winter, we get a foot and a half or so on the ground. But that's still too much.
man, that's colder than a cast iron toilet on the shady side of an iceberg.
for sure. That's a new one. That must be a southern one too.
I got that from some internet website with
Oh,
jokes.
okay.
But now I did hear this one. Oh, I didn't get this one off the internet. It says it's colder. It's colder than a well digger's glass at a bar in Montana.
Yeah. Yep. I love the north, but wintertime I'd rather be in the south, and that's our hope if the Lord leads that way. We've got some friends that have some places in Texas that are seasonal that have offered to say if you guys need it. So we're thinking about in the future going down and lining up some speaking to men's groups and church groups and stuff, and getting a chance to share the gospel some places with men's groups and just recording and setting up my studio stuff down there.
I see Jay Davies says Cuz is a great guy. Dick Kirby used to come down from New York and hunt with us for years. He says he's 25 minutes from Jacksonville. That's cool. And hey, Derek,
Okay.
shout out to my friend Derek Peters in the building. His son is a country rap musician, so shout out to Derek and his son Cornbread or
I
Mark
think that's an
Peters.
oxymoron. Country rap is an oxymoron. That's not possible. That's like Christian rap. I know I'm getting old when I sound like my dad saying that's too loud. What are you doing? Turn that down.
man,
And I'm not that old.
I'm doing good, Derek. I'm so glad to see you tune in. I appreciate it. I'm glad to have you. Uh, let's see. Derek says, but oh, it very much is. Yeah. So we got a great topic here, and the topic for this show is worrying. And sometimes, well, actually, a lot of the time, we as Christians, or anybody really, whether you're Christian or not, we worry too much about things and we dwell on it. And I ain't gonna lie, I used to be the king of that. I still do
Mhm.
sometimes, where I'll just worry and worry and let something bother me. But then I learned you gotta, you gotta trust God, give it to Him, and let him deal with all that and worry less. Because if when it's out of your control, it's best to give it to the man upstairs because he knows what he's doing and I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you. I'll tell you a real quick. For instance, just today, I don't know if you knew, but over the summer last spring they found out I had prostate cancer, and it was in some bad places in the prostate, and they were concerned about how bad it was, and I had it treated, and I was supposed to have my next PSA test done last week. I had my tests all done. They missed the PSA test, so I went back today. They said we'll call you in 20 minutes, and that was the first thing this morning. It was the end of the day, and they hadn't called. And it would have been a time where I'd have been just shook, not knowing, where I was at. And my number, I did find out at the end of the day, my numbers aren't good, but they're not bad. They're not gone down as much as I'd hoped. But you know what? God gave me peace in it. And the other thing is that I got to share with my urologist why I have peace. When she told Linda and I that I had cancer, we shared with her that we weren't shook. We knew that there was a plan and we were okay with it. And she said, I've told thousands of people that. And she said, you guys have had the best response to this ever. We got a chance to share why through Christ it wasn't bothering us. And it's when we give it all to Christ, when we don't worry, amazing things happen in our life. When we worry, it's really an offense to God because we're just taking everything out of His hands, putting it in our own hands, and say, "I can't do this," or "I'm concerned about this." When we give it to God, we're praising and lifting Him up when we're not worrying. When we are worrying, we're tearing Him down.
I agree. Let's see, Justin Allen says there is only one thing God can't do. He can't fall. I appreciate you guys sharing the good news. Appreciate that, Justin. Yeah, Justin's a preacher. So thank
Okay,
you for tuning in, Justin.
where's Justin from?
He is from Bruton, Alabama, I do believe. I believe, aren't you from, wait, aren't you from around Bruton, Justin? I think that's right. um, Bruton, somewhere in there. But, yeah, so speaking of Mary, okay, I knew it was somewhere. Yeah, Mary, Alabama. I knew it was
Where's that?
somewhere around there. Mary is probably it's between Atmore and it's like 2 counties over
Okay.
from Clark County.
Well, I'll make it easier for you. I know where Mobile is. I know where Montgomery is. I know where Selma is. I know where Birmingham is. I know where Eclectic and Wetumpka is. That's about it.
So Birmingham. So I'm about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours from Birmingham.
Right. Okay. So what are you, about an
So
hour from Montgomery? Hour and a half?
I'm about 2 hours from Montgomery, and
Okay.
then Justin says he's 1.5 hours north of Mobile.
Okay.
So John says that's the biggest problems I have in my life is worry. So look, here's something that a lot of people don't know. This I made it public, but I only made it public on my YouTube because the only reason I put it on YouTube instead of my Facebook is I wanted people to go to my YouTube to find out what my health problems were,
Yeah.
and that way it bring traffic to my YouTube and then subscribe to me. And then the ones that did see my shared video on Facebook know what my health problems are.
Hmm.
But basically, last year, year before, 2022, something like that, I had a huge health scare at work, and I ended up in the doctor's office in the hospital. And like I knew I was overweight, but it didn't really hit me until I was weighing like 252 pounds. I went to go see a doctor up the road here, Dr. Huey Kidd, and it turns out that I got type 2 diabetes, which is it's pre-diabetes where you can
Yeah.
beat it if you
Yeah.
eat right. And so I found out I had that. I found out my triglycerides were like stroke level, and
Hmm.
like I was 1,000, whatever number. All my other levels were skyrocketed, and I was close to having a stroke. And I ain't gonna lie, it was an eye-opener experience. I had to quit eating fried food. There was a lot of different foods I had to quit eating. I had to learn, like literally, like I'll take, say, like this tablet bottle right here, from
Hmm.
a medicine I take. I'll literally, like, if it's, say this is food, and I'll go to a grocery store, and now I'm at the point to where I'll stare at something and read the back of the ingredients. If it's got a lot of sugar or if it's got a lot of fat content, I ain't gonna lie, it drives me crazy. I'm like, man, I can't have it. And then I
Yeah.
put it back on the shelf, and I'll literally stare at it for 10 minutes sometimes at the grocery store or dollar store, wherever, and I'll put it back. And then, so the video I made about it was they do an alumni basketball game at my high school where I graduated from. And I was so excited because this was the first one ever. And then they did the second one this year. And so, so I was so excited to get to play in the alumni game because I wanted redemption from back when I was in high school.
Hmm.
And so I played that, and then when I got done, I made a video at the end of the game how excited I was. 'Cause I scored 2 points, and then I had a rebound, and then I fouled somebody. So that was cool. That I scored the first 2 points of the game, and we ended up winning by 2 points. And then my brother Blake told me, he said, "Well, if you hadn't scored them 2 points, y'all wouldn't have won." I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Yeah.
So I made this video leaving the locker room, and I was explaining to people about my diabetes and stuff that I had. And I went from, uh, thank you, Brent. I went from 252 pounds down to 224, which is a blessing, a miracle from God. But now
Hmm.
my problem is I go back up to 230, and I can't keep it below. I can get it below it, and then it goes right back up. But
Hmm.
I'm doing better than I used to be. And I ain't gonna lie, I could have worried about it. I ain't gonna lie, it scared me. It was a
Yeah.
very scary thing. And I started worrying about it, and I started stressing. And then I was like, you know what? I just need to give it to God and just let Him handle it. And so now I may not be close to where I want to be, but instead of me worrying and fretting over something that I can't do a whole lot with, other than just let it in His hands, and it's just so much more freeing and easier to let Him handle it instead of you trying to fix it yourself.
Right. Right. And that's the opposite of worry. You know, the opposite of worry is faith. The opposite of faith is worry. We say we have faith, but we don't live it, and we worry. Again, we're not getting anywhere. We're going in circles in life.
That is true.
There's a ton of scriptures, and you know, most of them are things that we've heard. All of us have heard over our life. There's just a ton of scriptures that don't be anxious, don't worry. You know, therefore do not worry because about tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to take care of itself. And there's just so many things tell us not to worry. There's nothing tells us to worry. Everything tells us not to worry. Don't be anxious. It's funny today, and I never even thought of it till I was into this, but my devotional I wrote for probably be about Friday. I wrote a few of them today because I was in doctor's offices waiting. But one of them was, don't worry, be happy. And the verse I used for that is 1 Peter 5, 6, and 7 is, humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he might lift you up in due time, cast all your anxiety or all your worry on him, because he cares for you. So humble ourselves before God, give him everything. We have no reason to worry. I've got one example after another for the last 10 years ago. Linda and I decided 12 years ago, probably now, everything we do, whether it be hunting, fishing, whatever we do, is going to be for God's glory and for ministry, or we're not doing it. And have we failed in that? Sometimes, yeah. But since we did that and we completely trust, I've had very few years where I've had a steady income, a regular full-time enough to carry, but we're serving God 24/7, and he's taking care of every single bill, every single need that we've had. And it's just an amazing thing when we allow God to do that. Otherwise, we're taking it out of his hands and putting it on our own. I'm not capable of taking care of all this stuff.
Yeah. Because, like, I've learned we as people, we try to be stubborn, stupid people, and we try to tend to think, let's see, Brent says, something I learned recently that has helped me with my health problems. There were 39 stripes Jesus took upon his back, and all sickness in the world falls under 39 categories. So, literally, from every sickness, by his stripes, we're healed. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Man, and I use the verse from my ministry, Isaiah 53:5, King James Version. And I got that, and the only reason I got that because of Michael Sweet and the guys over there at Striper. If they
Mm-hmm.
hadn't had that verse as their band verse, and to this day they've been doing music over 40 years,
Really?
and every single album they've put out since 1979, I think that's when they started. Every single album has that Bible verse on all their CDs, all their covers, everything, and they don't mind like that. Like they play bars, they play all kind of venues, and they don't mind screaming Jesus,
Yeah,
and that's pretty cool. So I got that verse from them, and it's just such a powerful verse. If we trust in Him, then by His stripes we're healed. You know.
yeah, yeah. And there's nothing we can do about these things. I keep thinking about, why did I spend all this time worrying? Linda and I, God's provided financially. Even the health stuff. Do I want to go through more? I've had 2 hip surgeries in the last 13 months. 2 hip surgeries, cancer treatments, something major in my lungs. They've actually run a scope through my lungs, and I got to be on several medications. That's all in the last 13 months. When I think back on the last 13 months, the only thing I really think about is how amazing God has been in this God's Great Outdoors, where he brought me, and how it's growing and how we're able to reach people for him. And the medical stuff, he's taken that from me. Do I want to go through it? No, but that doesn't mean I have to worry about it. He's got it.
Amen. I like that.
Another verse from Isaiah where you're talking about is 41:10. It's, fear not, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you, and I will uphold you with my mighty right hand. If God's got us literally in his hand, there's nothing going to touch us that he doesn't allow it to happen. How can
Amen.
do I worry? Occasionally, yeah. I mean, I think about things and think of what if. And I wrote this. I don't know if you saw this one a while back, just a few weeks ago, Jared. But I wrote something about what if. And we our whole lives we think, what if? What if? What if we had done this? What if we had done that? And one of the things that I've started to look at instead is say, what if in a positive way? What if I do this now? What is it going to do? How we're going to glorify God? what's it going to do for the future? So it's what if in a positive instead of what if I had done this differently instead of a negative. And that's life is really short, and I'm learning it as we get older. We realize how short it is. And I hope I have 20 years, 30 years ahead of me. I'd love to be on doing what I'm doing for 20 or 30 more years, or Christ return in the meantime. But I don't want to look back and say what if. I want to look forward and say what if I do this. What more could it do for the Lord?
Man, that's cool. I like that because some, we've all been there. We've all been there when we just questioned, why, what if I could have got this? What if this, you know, and we, a lot of times we pray for things and we don't get it and we're super bummed out. But something I've had to learn, and I've learned this recently, um, is, well, maybe God's blocking us from getting this because He knows it's going to hurt us. He knows that, no, it's not your time to do this. Because if He would have give it to me right then when I asked for it, I wasn't ready for it, obviously, or He would have gave it to me. It'd have been my
Right.
time. And He sees in the future. He knows the future, so He knows it would have hurt me, and it wouldn't have done no good. But instead, He puts a blocker up there and says, "Hey, I'm blocking this. It's not your time. You just need to be patient. Keep praying and trusting in me. If you keep praying and trusting me, then in due time it's gonna come."
Yeah. Yeah, that's literally, we don't know how often that happens. I think it happens way more than we know because we've got ideas. Hey, would this would be great? That'd be great, and we don't realize because it never comes around that it's God's timing on everything. And for instance, one time I was real big in the National Wild Turkey Federation on the state board in Michigan, a chapter president for like 6 years, and I was real involved. And I always thought, man, I'd love to do that one of those jobs as a regional director. And I got a call from to go down and interview for a job, actually all the way in Missouri, but it was back here for home for the NRA, Friends of the NRA. And I made it down to the last two of us for this position, and I didn't get it. And I was really bummed out. And God did way many more things in my life, way more than I could have anticipated when I didn't get that job. And the guy that got it ended up telling me it ended up being a little bit of a nightmare of travel away from home. And God knew exactly what I needed and what I didn't. So yeah, it's his. I think there's an old Garth Brooks song, and I forget what it's called, but where he runs
Unanswered
into an
prayers.
old high school flame, and things aren't what they thought they were. He always thought he wanted to spend his life with her, and it's unanswered prayers. I think it's called. It's not a rap
Yes.
country song, but it is a country song.
Yeah. 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 That's a great message in that song
It
because
is.
people need that's a good country song for somebody to listen to. That that it goes to show you that you may think this and this is what you want and this is the right spot. And then God says, no, 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 no. This ain't gonna do nothing but hurt you. It's gonna mess you up. You don't want to do this.
Yep.
And I had a situation where I went through that, and I was like, why didn't I get this position? Why didn't I?
Yep.
And then boom, now I see why. And I start seeing things unfold in front of my eyes. I'm like, oh, okay
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Actually, you and I have conversed back and forth on Facebook and on Messenger over some of those things. You asked me to
Yes.
pray for you, and or asked me my advice over the years, and um, people think sometimes they're bothering me, and to be honest with you, I'm so uplifted by when somebody asks me to come alongside them, or to pray for them, or to whether it be bring scripture to where they're at. I love it when people do that.
Wow, that's awesome. And like I try to tell people, and if anybody ever has any prayer requests, they can reach out to my page or reach out to Mr. Dean on his page,
Yes.
and either me, John, or Matt will get back to you on my page. Usually it's me who sees the messages for anybody. Um, but yeah, I love praying for people, and there's this uh, there's this artist I listen to. I'm a big fan of. His name is Rare of Breed, and he's a Christian rapper, but his sound is more of the country beats, the country rap stuff. And
Hmm.
he's got a song called Right Now that I listen to. And he starts talking about how he played a show in Monroe, Louisiana, and he saw people broken at the altar at the end of the show. And basically the song is about standing in the gap and praying for somebody. And sometimes you're that only person that they could stand in the gap and pray for somebody, and that just speaks to me. I said, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that way, with the health stuff, as you know, with health stuff, when you can feel somebody praying, when somebody says, "I'm going to pray for you," they're going to do it. It relieves some of that worry that we're talking about as well.
Because I love like making posts, asking people to pray for somebody, pray for so and so, or I love, um, I don't mind, making posts on Facebook saying, "Hey, need prayers for this, prayers for that," because I love people praying for me or whoever the case is. And then like the other day, I made a post about. So I had a job interview the other day at the company I work for,
Hmm.
and
I
I
was
made a
praying about
post.
that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I made that post the other day about, hey, I got this job interview, and could y'all please pray for me? And you wouldn't believe how many people I've got right at almost 5,000 friends on Facebook, and I probably had 100, 200 comments, or however many it was. It was a bunch, more than usual, because I'm like, wow, people never see my post or comment on them unless there's something. I said, this is cool,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. I mean, it was just so cool to me that people were reaching out praying, and then the the interview went excellent.
Did it?
Uh, it was super excellent. So now I'm just waiting on. I think they may have a few more they're going to look at,
Hmm.
but just waiting on. I think it's sometime next week. I'll probably hear something. So that would be great.
Well,
But
and
even if
yeah. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say there's a great example. You could worry about that. You're not going to change it. But if we have faith and we just trust God in it, it doesn't matter what happens because we can trust that God's got either that or something better for us. He's not going to put us into something worse. He's going to put us into something better for us and for his glory.
Amen. And I even think about like this. I've even told. I even had a friend. I can't remember who it was, but somebody told me the other day. They said, "Oh, you're actually overqualified for this position." I was like,
That's
"Wow,
good to
I
hear
was
once.
not."
That's good to hear once in a while.
Yeah, I was floored. I've never had anybody ever tell me that.
Yeah.
And I think it was Robbie that told me that. Said you're overqualified for that position. I said, "Wow." And with all these many years of skills, and I even think about this too. Even even if I don't get it, I just know that God's got something better.
Right. Right.
I just gotta. I mean, I'm not even. I'm not even really worried. I just know the interview went super awesome. The manager was super impressed. It sounded like I was on the top of the list. Didn't sound like I was number one, but it sounded like I was way up there.
Yeah.
And so he made it be known like three times during the interview that I did the interview was really good.
Yeah.
I was floored to hear that. I thought, wow, that's awesome because it was just so easy for me to go through that interview. But if I hadn't had all these people praying for me, or if I hadn't have been praying too, it wouldn't have went so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a story. I went was years and years ago. I had a resume into a paper mill, and that was one of the best jobs around here. And we were young, married, and I drove in. I was driving in that day. I was listening to Christian radio, and whoever the speaker was saying, whatever you're doing for your work, it should be something you have a passion for. If you're going to do it, do something you got a passion for, and then give it your all. And I'm driving in there thinking, man, that wasn't me sitting in the paper mill every day, all day long. So some people love it, and some people love going home and not having to worry about their work. Good, I'm happy for them, but that's just not me. I'm in the mountains or in the woods or on the rivers or someplace, and I didn't. I got the interview went amazing. I left and I stopped at somebody's house and I said, I don't know that I'd be happy there, but if that's what God does, I'm okay. But I don't know that that is what fits me. Well, they told that to the people at the paper mill, and they called me before they found that out. They called and said, "Dean, you're number one, but we have to take a woman." Now I won't mention because that's probably illegal, but they said we got to take a woman this time. They said the next
Wow.
job comes up is yours. Well, then, so this person that overheard me say that went and told the guys that were working there that this had happened, and I was blackballed. They never called me back. And you know what? If I had gone in there and they had great hours, the guys were working different shifts that gave them a week off every month. It was awesome. But I know that wasn't. I knew when I left there that's not where God had for me, and I didn't worry about it because He put me in a much better place and a much better situation. And now, I don't know. I wouldn't be where I'm at with God's Great Outdoors if I had pushed through and taken something without God's lead.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's amazing. It's amazing what he can do if we just trust him and give it to him.
yeah.
And everybody that's watching, y'all share this live. Share it to all your groups. I saw Jason shared it, so thank you, Jason. So, Jason Katz, for those that don't know, is the owner of the radio station I work with at Quick Radio. So, shout out to Jason and Mitchell over there. Um, so, thanks everybody for sharing it. I'm sure Tony shared it if he came in here. So, thanks everybody. It's been great. We don't need to. I I ain't gonna lie. I used to be one of those people that would worry and worry about everything. I'm talking about it would bother me so bad on some things that I wouldn't be able to sleep. And now I'm not like that because I put God first in everything I do, and I just trust Him. And I'm so thankful that I ain't like that no more because that was I don't I don't I don't wish that on anybody to just sit there and worry and fret over something. If you're gonna worry and fret over something, just uh just just give it to God. Just pray where you're at, and even if you don't, if you're not a big praying person or you're not saved or whatever, just say, hey, if it could work for Jared or Dean, maybe it could work for me,
It
and then
will
give
work.
God a try.
It will work for you.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
guaranteed. Because God will take that. We'll want to slip back into it. We'll want to slip back into the worry and taking those things back. But when we do, I said to me, and I've never heard this said this way, but it just came to me the other day that when we worry, it's an insult to our Lord. It really is because we're saying you're not capable. I don't know that you're going to have my back on this. And I like back, and I'm trying to think where it was. It is Matthew, um, where he talks about you're so much more important to me than the birds of the field or the birds of the air and the grasses and everything else. And look at I take care of them, and how much more do I love you? And when we think about that, we have absolutely no reason to worry. Uh, and then that I think that comes out of Matthew 6, if I remember, but I paraphrase. But that's true. If God loves, if He counts every bird in the air when He knows when one falls, every single bird. I mean, how much more does He love His own creation that He put in His own image? I mean, it's foolish to think that God doesn't love us enough to take care of us in every situation, not in just the big ones, but in the little ones too.
Amen. Oh, because so many times I even know somebody who who just like I don't know, like when people tell me they give it to God, but yet they're all the time complaining, well, how come this and this hasn't happened? I've been praying for this and I've been doing this for years. How come it hasn't happened? And I'm sitting there thinking, well, if you truly gave it to God, you wouldn't be complaining right now. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Right.
And I hear that so much. I'm like, really? If you truly give it to God, we would not be having that's when worrying comes in. That's doubting God's ability to do something. I said, look, if he can create the earth in 7 days, surely he can take our small, minuscule problems
Right.
that we're going through and fix it. I mean, you know.
He created us. He has complete control. My dad was my dad's been gone about 12 years, and he and I were close. 10 years, 11 years before that, he found out he had cancer. They gave him 6 months to a year to live. And there were people all over the nation. I mean, all over the world. I mean, we were getting messages all over. My mom shared it in an airport, and it was somebody overheard and said, "I just told some friends in Europe be praying." He lived for 10, almost 10 and a half years. It wasn't easy all the time, but you know what? His goal was the day he found out he had cancer, the day when he had surgery and they found out for sure. He said, "You know what? If one person comes to Christ because of this, it's well worth it." And he lived that out for over 10 years, and God kept him here for that long. There was no sense worrying because God had a plan.
Wow. That's awesome. Thanks for tuning in, Marcus. Marcus says amen. That's my buddy. Thank you for watching, Marcus. Yeah, because like if we just if we just trust God and give it to Him, then what do we have to worry about? Well, there's uh no sense in being a worry wart or whatever the word is, where it just eats us out inside. And for some people, it's not that easy to just turn everything over to God. But if you pray about it, He'll give you the strength to do it.
One more verse that I wanted to share, and it was at the top. I made a list of some verses on worry, and it's Philippians 4, 6, and 7. And it's be anxious for nothing. So worry about nothing. And that's pretty strong word right there. But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be known to God. So he's saying, don't worry about it, tell me. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. You know, he's going to take all of the worry and turn it to peace if we trust him with it. That's a powerful couple of verses.
Wow, that is awesome. That's a great verse. And that was, what verse was that? Philippians
Philippians 4, 6, and 7.
4, 6, and 7. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
great. Man, if there's anybody that's got any, so I see Marcus watching. Um, if anybody else has any comments or questions for Mr. Dean here on this topic, y'all leave some comments in the comment section. We love reading the comments and talking back and forth because I love people tuning in and commenting back and forth because it makes for a great show.
Well, and again, I was saying I'm going to go from Jacksonville. I got to get from here to Jacksonville, which is a long haul. Jacksonville, Florida, all the way across almost to Brownsville, Texas. If anybody's along that way and wants to meet and have coffee or something, I'm looking for people to meet with, have a sandwich or a cup of coffee with. My wife will be with me, and we're going to record radio programs. If someone has a testimony or something they want to share, especially if it's outdoor related in their life or they love the outdoors, get a hold of me because I'm trying to capture. I've had some great interviews. I've only been at this for a year. I had a great interview with Chris McDaniel, who was the keyboard player and singer and songwriter with Confederate Railroad, and
Oh, cool.
awesome. But most of my interviews are just ordinary guys like you and I that love the Lord and have had stuff in the outdoors that we can turn into a program, and it's been great. So people can go on my website. It's godsgreatoutdoors.org, and they can contact me and say, "Hey, you're coming through my area. Would love to together with you. I'll do everything I can to do that."
Awesome. That is so cool. Um, that's great. So, do you have like any kind of merch or anything on your site for sale?
There is. There's not very much right now. We got some books. Actually, some of my books are on there that I've written. I don't know. Do you have one of those, Jared? Do you have my Trophies of Grace book?
I don't.
Oh, I need to send you one. You need to send me a message. I'll send you one.
Okay,
I'll sign
great.
one for you. But we got some books. We're just redesigning some new T-shirts and hats. We put all new logos. As when I came on, we've rebuilt a lot of the organization, brought it up to date, and so we will soon. There's some merch there that people can grab. In the near future. But we post the devotionals there every day. So if someone's not getting them on Facebook, go to the website, sign up. We'll send them to you every day.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna read this to you if I can find it. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna read a story to you, but then I'm gonna share that last.
Okay.
But so, what do you call Jesus working out?
I don't know.
Jehovah Fitness. like I was telling somebody recently. I can't remember who it was, but I told him, I said, imagine if there was a gym and it was called Jehovah Fitness, and you see a picture of Jesus deadlifting.
Well, he was a pretty strong man, I believe.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure.
I think he was all powerful, but he was also a strong physical man.
Because I watch the show The Chosen. Do you watch
Mm-hmm.
it?
I watched the first season. Linda and I are going to try to find a long weekend where we can just sit and binge watch start get back on it again. We travel so much that we don't watch that much like that. So we're going to.
So I'm on season 3, or I finished season
Mm-hmm.
3, and they hadn't come out with season 4 yet. But it's such a great show, and I've had several people on Facebook tell me, so, oh no, you don't need to watch it for so and so, and they told me about the thing with Dallas Jenkins that I've
Yeah.
been hearing, and I don't know how true that is. I just know that so far it's really good and it's accurate. Now, of course, it's a TV show, so there's gonna be a lot of things that you may not see in the Bible, but
Right.
it tells a story of what if this happened,
Yeah.
along with, and it's just I love that show. And in
Well,
fact, the guy who plays Jesus, I forgot the actor's name.
I don't remember either.
Oh, he plays on a new movie with Kelsey Grammer called Jesus Revolution. And by the
Yeah.
way, if y'all hadn't seen it, that is the best movie.
There's a couple. I won't. There's a couple things that happen in that movie are some of the best things I've ever seen. I don't want to spoil it in case somebody hasn't seen it. But I brought my wife and I brought our pastor and his wife, and he agreed it was. Now there's some things in there that are artistic. Like they took artistic license to put it together, I'm sure. But I think that's the life story basically of Greg Laurie and pastor. I've read his devotionals for years, but it is an amazing movie.
And Kelsey Grammer, I did not know Kelsey Grammer was a Christian until I watched that at church because I grew up watching his show Frasier,
Yeah, I
and
love
I
Frasier.
I love Frasier. And then his dad, the
Yeah.
dad, what was his dad's name?
Um, my wife calls Martin. Martin.
Yeah, Martin.
She calls me that all the time when I'm on my cane now. So she calls me, said I look like Martin.
That's funny. I love
It
that
is.
show. So, so here's a hunting story for you. I read this a while back, and this is on the UKC website, which is the United Kennel Club. They do all the hunting events and stuff for the coon hunts. And this guy says, I used to have one heck of a coon dog. Every night I would show him a fur stretcher, and the next morning there would be a dead coon laying on the back porch. The dog was so smart. If I showed him a small stretcher, he'd bring me a small coon. If I showed him a large stretcher, he would bring me a big old boar coon. Everything was fine and dandy till one afternoon when Mom was cleaning out the laundry room and she set the ironing board out on the back porch. I haven't seen my dog ever since.
That's funny. That is funny.
I wish that was a true story.
Well, hopefully we can get out. Like I said, if I'm up to walking very far, not I'll just go sit and listen and wait for you guys to get back to the truck. But
So basically, and we'll even make it easy on you. So what we do is we take of course, we have a GPS unit,
Mhm.
and we have uh, so Marcus says, so you drive a truck too?
Do I?
Yes.
Yes. Chevy
Okay.
Silverado.
Okay. He was Marcus said that because he's a big truck driver, so he was
Okay.
thinking that you
Oh, a
you meant
semi truck driver, you mean?
yes,
No,
yes.
no. I always tell my wife I can every time I back up a truck with a trailer on it, just to pick up what she's with me, I say I should have been a truck driver because I'm pretty good at backing. But I probably hit a lot of trees and such when I was younger. My dad didn't like my backing, but I've learned.
So we use a GPS unit, usually a Garmin or
Yeah.
Dogtra has a brand now where basically you just put a GPS collar on the dog,
Yeah.
and then you use a cell phone, and you don't have to have cell service to use it, which is cool.
Okay.
You can track your
Yeah.
dog from your phone. And so, so like my friend Miss Gerald, we take rangers everywhere we go. The only time we really walk is when the road don't go near
Right.
where the dogs are treated at. But we can make a way where you can hunt with us.
Okay. I would love to do that. Like I said, I'm just looking for opportunities to record and do some stuff with people and share the gospel. So you tell me where you want what you want me to do. I'll come serve you.
Okay.
And
Well,
get your
look, it.
get your I forget your the manager of the store man. I mean the station manager's name or whatever he does there. Have him drop me a note. If I
Okay.
can get you guys lined up, I'd love to do that.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. And I'll have to send you one of my videos. So everybody that hasn't, go to Coon Hunters Outdoors Ministries on YouTube, and I got videos all the way from hunting videos. I got videos of me doing like maintenance on my truck. I got videos of concerts. I go to Christian concerts. I go to country concerts, and I got some hunt. I got a bunch of our hunts that's filmed on there. I have to send you one of our hunts, and you see what all we do. But it's just so much fun because you get to listen to the dogs trail the coon, and then the way you know that they're treed when the dog knows he's got one or thinks he's got one. Usually he barks more than 5 6 times and just
Right.
keeps continuously barking. But like most of the time you'll hear them kind of bark while they're trailing, and then you'll hear them do a loud bawl, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And when he does that, that means it's pretty hot and he knows he's on there.
Yeah.
And good dogs don't tree possums. But a little joke I always do when these guys go coon hunt with me, I tell them, y'all ready to go tree some possums tonight? And that's the easiest way to get a coon hunter offended. Like it's so funny. I do it to Mr. Gerald all the time because he knows I like to pick at him about it. And I told him one night, I said, Mr. Gerald, I said we're gonna go tree some big possums tonight. My dog don't treat possums. He treats coons. He said it just like that. He said we don't talk like that around here.
You don't have porcupines down there, do you?
No, as far as I know, I've never seen one.
Yeah, that's I've been we are friends with bear hounds, and Linda killed a big bear with a 350-pound bear with hounds, but the porcupines just will the hounds will get the quills up inside their mouth, in the roof of their mouth, and their tongue up in their noses. They'll have 150, 200 quills stuck in them, and you got to pull them all out. And
Oh,
right before Linda killed her bear, this one, I think that dog's name was Justin, and his mouth was completely. They pulled held him down, pulled everything out, and he laid there. I was amazed, bleeding like crazy out of his mouth. They lift their arms off, and boom, he was gone. And he caught up. He was probably half mile behind that chase. He caught up, and he was the last one to be pulled away from that bear before she could take the shot. It was an amazing.
wow.
So I've got to do. I had uh, little small beagles when I was a kid, 13-inch, 15-inch beagles for rabbits, and I have killed a mountain lion off of hounds before. So I've gotten to do it. I've done all those other things, never done a coon.
Wow, that's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah,
Speaking of bear, I know you've probably seen the show because I watch the Pursuit Channel.
yeah,
The Bear Whisperer with Blaine Anthony.
yeah, yeah.
I watched that one episode he did last year where he took the guy, and I think he took a guy in a wheelchair bear hunting, and they was in the blind, and and so he left the camera at the blind and told the guy shot the bear, run off in the woods, and he said, "Hey, hold up right here. Something don't seem right or whatever." And then so you see Blaine walk up and go out towards the woods where the bear went in. Oh, big mistake. All you hear is him screaming and running backwards, and that bear comes charging out. Boom, 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 boom. It sounded like World War III, and the bear like died right there in
Yeah,
front of the blind, and it goes to show how dangerous some things can be.
they can. I lived on Kodiak Island with ran a lodge up there for just one season, right about when the 2009, when the housing market dropped and the economy dropped. But I was actually charged by two different Kodiak brown bears when I was up
Wow.
there, and one of them came really close. The other one came charging, wanting to eat me. The other one was coming slowly, wanting to get my fish. I was guiding fishermen, so that I've had some really good. My best bear story. Maybe not my actually my charge is the best. One time I had a bow hunter. I ran camps in Canada for black bear years ago, a long time ago, and I had a guy spine one, died right there. Thought it died right there. I pull it away, gut it, and when I'm gutting it, open it up, I reach up, and its heart is still beating in my hand. That was a little
Wow.
freaky. It was. I've had deer do that, but when a
Ugh.
bear, when you got a 250-pound bear on the ground, and his heart's beating in your hand, that's a little freaky.
Oh, look, that would have freaked me out to no end. I'd have peed my pants.
I never carried a gun when I was in Canada for tracking or baiting or anything. I just went.
Wow.
So
That's
I figured,
crazy.
I
That,
figured if God was going to take me that way, He was going to take me whether I had the gun or not.
yeah. Wow. So I know people here that go up north to go bear hunting and
Yeah.
stuff. What does bear taste like? And some people say it's strong and nasty, but some people say it's good.
No, if it's cooked right, if it's taken care of. My wife is a picky eater when it comes to meat. Her favorite wild game is bear. But it tastes like, if it's taken care of and it's cooked right, it tastes like really good beef. It really
Wow.
does. I mean, you take a round steak and you throw it on a grill, and cook. You got to cook bear well done because of the trichinosis that can, the worms that are there. But if you do that, it's not going to be good. It's going to be like shoe leather. But if you cook it
Mm.
right and you cook it slow and all the way through, it can be some of the best meat you'll eat.
Wow. That's like here. Um, People like we have people that are lined up. Every time we get a coon, they call Miss Gerald or they call Darren or Steve. Say, hey, you got any more coons for me? I need a coon. I need a coon from you. And they cook them. And Gerald says his wife can cook them. And like I had them one time at a Beast Feast wild game supper,
Yeah,
and I told my dad, I said, man, I wanted to throw up eating it.
really.
And then Miss Gerald said, no, 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 no. He said you ain't had it cooked right. You basically need to find a little old country black lady that knows what she's doing,
Yeah,
and get her to cook it. And he said, man, it's fire. He said you bake it with potatoes and stuff in the oven. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that. And then there's another one. So Real Tree's got a recipe on their website, and I don't like alcohol whatsoever,
yeah,
but this recipe calls for bourbon,
yeah.
and
And
it's called
you're cooking the alcohol out of it. So
yes,
yeah,
and so it's maple bourbon glazed grilled raccoon.
really.
And oh yeah, I gotta send it to you. It looks so good because
Yeah.
like it shows the guy took his son hunting, and they got the pictures of his son holding the coon up, and they take the coon, clean it, skin it, and they use that I can't remember what barbecue rub they used, the
Hmm.
seasoning, and then they put that rub all over it, and they basted it, grilled it on the grill, and that looks so good. It made me want to slap my grandmother.
Yeah, I I've cooked coon that was phenomenal. My
Mm.
grandson Micah, he's actually he's away at Bible college. Just tried to call me when we're talking. But he's a phenomenal wild game cook. We were riding down the road in South Dakota. We had been down this road for Idle East there right after dark. Well, it was late. We had killed a buck, so it was late, and there was nothing in the road. Well, I got back to my lease before daylight, so it'd been 10 hours, and here's a big beaver laying dead in the middle of the road. And he said, "Stop." I said, "For what?" He said, I want to eat. We want to cook that. So we picked it up. Nobody really wanted to eat it, but he cooked it, and it was like really prime roast beef when he got done. We ate my mountain lion too. Mountain lion was like really good pork. It was tough, but it was like really good pork.
Wow. And
I got a friend
I
that
s-
always I got a friend that always said about her Linda loves house cats or loves cats. And he said, I love cats. He said, I just can't eat a whole one in one sitting. So,
Ooh, I bet that was an awkward conversation.
no, we laughed.
And I've heard of people. I've seen articles online and I watch these predator hunt videos because I love watching those, like Operation
Yeah,
Predator and then
yeah.
Primos and I hear people of eating coyote, and I don't know that I want to try it grilled coyote or fried coyote. I don't even care if you put Tony Chachere's on it. I don't know.
Well, I can hide anything with Tony's. So, Mike actually made coyote chili for our wild game feed at our church. Made a full big Nesco roaster. I mean, a big one, and it was completely gone. You would have never known it was coyote.
Really?
It was gone. It was really good. It was the texture was a little different even for ground meat, a little bit stringy, but the flavor was really good. I
So
don't
what
think
is
I don't think I'd take a chunk and fry it and say, yeah, I want to eat that. But in chili, it was great.
so what is it? What does coyote taste like? Is it dark meat?
Uh, no, well, it's similar to venison probably. Maybe a
Oh,
little bit.
cool. Okay.
Maybe a little bit. It's got a got a weird texture to it. It's a little stringy, but I mean
Uh-huh.
they eat dogs all over the world. So the problem
Yeah.
is the smell. The smell of a coyote kind of makes you wonder what it's going to be like. But you would have never known. Actually, it
Wow.
tasted a little bit like a pork type product when in the chili. It was good.
So have you ever thought about doing any videos of you doing a cooking, showing how to cook something?
I've thought about it actually. I was just thinking about it as we're sitting here talking. I should do that with my grandson. I thought about all the camp chefs and the people I've been around with over the years, and all the places we get to have them do their special thing. And I think that would be an awesome thing, especially if you can tie a message to it. I'm working on a cookbook right now. It's called A Taste of God's Great Outdoors.
Oh,
And
cool.
if any of your listeners, excuse me, if any of your listeners want to send in their favorite recipe, we'd put it in. If I use your recipe, I will get you a copy of it. We're probably a year away from finishing it,
Okay.
but we're working on a wild game feed recipe that we're looking for unusual and different things that the average person wouldn't normally think of.
Awesome. So my buddy Adam just tuned in. He says I had deer chili last night. That's great, man. That sounds good. Uh,
I got a freezer full of elk right now. I need to eat up. So
well, if you ever do a cooking video, let me know and send it to me, and I'll
yeah,
post it. I'll post it to my YouTube and give you credit for it and shout your
sure.
ministry out.
Sure. Yeah, it's I'd love to. Matter of fact, when Micah gets from home this spring from Bible college, he's really good at almost everything. But he's had some great wild turkey recipes that are amazing, and we love to turkey hunt, so we always looking for something different to do with them.
So, Adam says I've never had elk. Would love to try it. Bear is good. Wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
elk is awful lot like really good venison. Got a little bit more of a little closer lean towards beef than our deer, but it's it all depends how you cook it. We've got a great venison and milk gravy that actually came from the south originally. I'm not sure where my grandmother had it and shared it with my mother, who shared it with us kids, and now my kids make it. But it's an amazing recipe.
Wow, that's awesome. So Adam, what we was talking about earlier, we was talking about the topic was worrying, and uh, let's see. Adam says Joe Rogan is big on eating elk. Oh, that's cool. And so we was talking about worrying earlier about stress, giving everything to God instead of instead of worrying, trying to fix things yourself. Best to just stop what you're doing and pray, and then let the Lord handle it. And I'm sure you've got some stories, Adam. You could probably tell on worrying about something, and it's like what Dean was saying earlier, that when you worry, you pretty much doubting God, saying, "Well, you don't have the ability to fix this and do that." And but so everybody that's watching, y'all be sure and go like Dean's Facebook There's the I got it pinned up there. You'll see it on the top of the screen. And okay, sure will. That's what I've been trying to do. Call me when. Sure will, man. Yeah, I'm praying for you, buddy. And so it's been a great show. I'm super glad you got to come on.
Yeah, anytime.
Um,
I'd love to do it again.
yeah, anytime you want to come on, because this is episode. I think it's episode 32. I think last night was episode 30 or maybe 33 or somewhere in there.
I
I'm
don't know.
trying to keep up with that. But yeah, anybody that needs any got any prayers, you reach out to Mr. Dean there, or you reach out to
Yes.
me or John or
Yep.
and
Anything I can do to help you out, and if it glorifies God, I'm in.
and so what's your website again for those just
Uh,
on
yeah, godsgreatoutdoors.org. It's real simple, and you can learn all about our ministry. You can see what we're doing in there. You can sign up for our newsletters. You can sign up for daily devotionals. You can sign up for weekly devotionals. We've got a lot of opportunities to see what we're doing, and we also have a list of outdoor Christian outdoor men speakers and women speakers that if someone's looking for an event speaker at their beast feast or wild game feed or whatever, we got a list of those in there, and I do those when I'm called. I hope they don't call, but I love to speak, but even live radio, if I'm writing, and I think you have an idea of how much I write. I literally write every day for 2 or 3 hours,
yes.
and sometimes at 4 in the morning. But when you're writing, you can backspace. It used to be whiteout. Now it's just backspace. When you're
Yeah.
speaking in front of a church, in front of a group, or you're on live radio, this is only the second time I've ever been on live radio. So, but when you're doing that, you can't backspace. So it's hard. Once it's out of your mouth, it's gone. So, but
That's right.
if I can serve, like I said, we're coming across the South. If we can serve you in any way, please get a hold of us.
Thank you for sharing, Tony, and thanks for coming on the show. And you mentioned about backspace.
Yeah,
So for those that don't know, they said Chuck Norris's PC doesn't have a backspace button because Chuck Norris doesn't make mistakes.
that's true. That's true. That's not me. I'll guarantee I'll mess up. I always tell people one thing I can guarantee them is I'm going to mess up sooner or later. So
Well,
ask my wife.
yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, sometimes I got buzzard look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, and we're
Okay.
gonna end the show. And
Yeah.
you want to say a prayer or anything?
I would love to pray. If you guys want to pray with me, that'd be awesome. Heavenly
Sure.
Father, Lord, I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for Jared, his friendship over the last several years, or even though it's sporadic, I just thank you for his ministry here and the changes in him. I thank you for your listeners. I thank you, Lord, the way that you bless us in so many ways that we take for granted. Lord, help us not to worry. Help us to put our full trust in you. Help us, as your word says, Lord, to be anxious for nothing, but to wait on you and your timing. I pray for Jared. I pray for this ministry. Lord, I pray for all these listeners that go out through this week. In Christ's name, amen.
All right, thank you. And Tony says, "Nice turkey."
We'll talk soon.
Okay, have a good one. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for sharing, Tony. Thanks everybody for watching. God loves you. Jesus saves. See y'all later. Share this, y'all.